First, I'd like to give a special thanks to Paramount Motors for making this video possible. They supplied the car in today's video, and I'm a past customer. They are a very nice dealership, and I've had really good experiences. I highly recommend them if you're in the market for an electric vehicle. They are located just south of downtown Seattle, near the old Rainier Brewery. Hi, this is John with The Evolving World. Today I'm doing a video on a 2017 Chevrolet Volt LT. This is the base model. The color you see is heather gray, which is actually more of a charcoal, and the interior is a charcoal cloth. This video will be basically shot in 4 segments. The first segment will be myself walking around the vehicle, just showing you what it looks like from the outside, zooming into some details if there's anything that kind of stands out to me, tell you my impressions of the exterior. And then the second segment will be the interior, and that's basically just stepping into the interior, looking around, pushing buttons, honking the horn, turning on the wipers, kind of playing with the video display, so all the kind of things that you might encounter when you're inside the car. Third segment will be driving impressions. I'll take it on the road, take it on some twisty roads, take it on a highway, go through a tunnel, kind of show you what impressions are as I'm driving it. And fourth segment will basically be just charging, any kind of charging issues I have or any delights that I find with the car, and then any kind of final thoughts. The first thing you notice about the car is that this time around it did more of a realistic approach to the design. Unlike the first-gen car, which was a bad impression of the original beautiful concept car, this time around, it was much more realistic. They kind of said, okay, let's take away all the bad impression design elements of the first-gen car, and this time let's just make it more of a regular car, which I think works out pretty good for this type of car because it is an everyday kind of car, and that's kind of what you want it to be. Power output is the same as before, although the torque is up a little bit. It's 149 horsepower, 294 pounds of torque. The old one was 273. The gas engine is 101 horsepower. It's basically used as a power generator, and that's all it's used for. It has a 9-gallon fuel tank. Funny thing about the car, this thing I noticed with the first-gen car, is when you open the hood, the engine kicks on. Now, it's kind of funny, it's kind of quirky. I know there's a reason why they do this, but to me it just seems a little odd. It's funny because this particular car had a half a gallon of gas in it, so turning on the engine when it didn't need to be on was just depleting the gas even more. So it seems kind of silly to have it just do that automatically regardless of how much gas is in the tank. I mean, you can literally run it dry, just by opening the hood. However, it is producing electricity every time the engine is on, so it was increasing the electric range while it was doing this. Unfortunately, as before, the back suspension is still a beam axle. It is based off the Chevy Cruze, of course. But good news is that they seem to have refined it to a point that it's almost smooth as a multi-link. Very much like a Kia Soul EV. Another thing that I wish it would have is a sunroof option. They still do not have a sunroof option on this car. I don't know why they do this. A lot of EVs do this, not all of them, but a lot of them do. Don't know why, but it would be nice to add that. So the trunk area is pretty useful, pretty good. It's 11 cubic feet. It's about average in its class, so you don't lose any space or anything. And then with the back seats down, it's about 33 cubic feet. Much more useful in that format. Seems pretty roomy back here. I'm not sure if it's crazy big difference, but it's definitely seems like it's a little bit bigger. And one thing's for certain though, it's still a 4-seat car. This is not a 5-passenger car. Unless somebody's legless or something, because you got this thing right here. I mean, maybe a child might be able to sit here. I don't think there is actually a belt for it, but yeah, it's still very much a 4-passenger car. Very roomy for 4 people.
car seems just a hair bit quieter than other EVs. It's quite a bit heftier, but actually this one's 3,500 pounds, so it's actually quite a bit lighter. It's actually about 250 pounds lighter than the previous edition. So that's pretty good. Now this is a basic model, so we don't have very many things. This is so we have like auto headlights, power windows, power mirrors, locks, that kind of stuff. We have a proximity key, so that's good. Oh, interesting. So they have a regular key too, separate. It's got cruise control. Got little paddle shifters behind the thing here, or not paddle shifters. I mean paddle. Excuse me, paddle regen, which is nice, very useful. Yes, being a base model does not have quite as much stuff. So unlike the outgoing model, the first gen car, there's no little horn button right here. There was a soft horn button, which was kind of nice actually. I kind of liked it, like a pedestrian warning kind of system. So instead of having just a big horn like that, the other one had like a little chirp, a little soft horn. So like, you know, a friendly horn, so to speak, which is nice. Yeah, this being a base model, it still has, one of the nice things about the new one, we have this mode switch here. And this is, the ELR was the first to have it, so it has this, let's see here. I keep pushing it. So yeah, we have a normal, sport, mountain, and hold, so that's really nice to have. So that's like, hold is like when you want to drive on gas, you want to save your electric charge, like if you're on the freeway driving and you know you're going to be going into the city, then you can just leave it on hold and it will hold the gas, and it will hold the electric charge until you make it to your wherever destination you're wanting to go, and then then you go back into normal mode, and then it just activates the electric mode. So it's perfect for like if you want to commute someplace like from way out in the country into the city where you want to be, you know, use the electric range in the city as much as possible. If you know you need to have that whole charge, you're not going to be able to recharge it, you can just quickly switch to normal mode. That way you have all your charge, you have all 53 miles. So it's kind of nice to have. And then mountains, if you know you're going to be going down a steep grade, if you're going up a hill, and you know you're going to be going down a long steep grade, what it will do is it will kind of adjust the battery and let it kind of go way down, and then you can kind of catch all that charge on the next right over when you go down the next side. So that's pretty cool. So it basically has all the stuff that ELR had, and now it's standard here on the second gen car, second gen Volt. We still have a nice low mode, drive mode, and brake mode is the paddle shifter behind the left. So I also have a shifter on this side too. Okay, so that's what that is. Controls the volume, I guess. How do we mute? How do we mute? Okay, there we go. Don't need to pay any royalties here. Okay, so So yeah, generally, you know, the interior looks much more, I guess, a little bit more traditional. The first gen car had kind of a wild kind of appearance to it. Although this one is a little more conventional looking, but this particular model we have here is charcoal gray with a black charcoal interior. It's not exactly the most dashing interior in the world. I've seen other cars that have like this orange interior. I think they have a tan and a gray as well, and it makes it a two-tone interior and makes it looks quite strikingly different than this one right here. This one's much more I don't know, basic, I guess. Very, very neutral. I mean, if I was going to get the car, I would go ahead and just get a nicer interior, because it's definitely something you appreciate over time. Getting a charcoal gray car with a charcoal interior, I mean, I guess it's up to you. You do whatever you want to do, but I would personally get something a little bit more spicy. And this is also a basic car, so this is very, very basic. It doesn't have, this car has all kinds of options. Although thankfully the safety features are all standard. It's like a 5-star rated. One of the nicest things about this car is it's nice safety features. It's like 5-star rated. And so yeah, getting back to the ventilation here, so this is much more typical, much more common controls instead of that kind of touch semi-feedback kind of system that the old one has. So this is like actual buttons now. So it's, although up here we have a rather normal kind of touchscreen, a little bit smaller than the outgoing car. Actually, I'm not sure if it is actually smaller. It appears to be smaller. Maybe it's not. It still has all your basic information. God, here we go again with this. I didn't even mute. All right, what else we got here? So phone, compass. I don't think this one even has nav, which is surprising. I thought that was standard. I know the backup camera is standard. All the safety features are standard. Parking sensors front and rear are standard. But I'm not certain about, I think everything else is optional, so this one does not have any of that. So this is kind of a glimpse of what a basic car looks like. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Let's go for a drive. So one of the things that's nice about the second gen Volt is it's about 250 pounds lighter. It doesn't feel any smaller, and you have a bigger battery pack. Battery pack's 18.4 versus 16.5, so you've got more range, 53 miles EPA now, and the lightness is noticeable. I mean, the handling's pretty nice. It's a pretty smooth car. You can kind of just go around these corners pretty swiftly. It has a very quiet, very soft ride too. It's not like you have to have any trade-offs or anything. It still seems to corner pretty nicely. I mean, it's certainly not a lightweight sports car or anything. I mean, it's still 3,500 pounds, but it's pretty nice. Police officers there. We don't want to be speeding through here at this time. Not that I ever do speed through here. I like the handle. It's very... drive. I mean, I just think that, you know, that weight alone, I don't know how they did it, but, you know, shaving off all that weight really makes a difference. I mean, it really does increase the efficiency. Then you make the battery a little bit bigger, and it all adds up. It's definitely a very solid improvement from the first gen car. I think if you were on the fence about buying, like, say, a 16 versus a 15, you know, it would definitely be worth it to get the 16. It's the first year of the second gen model. So as before I mentioned, this is a basic model, so it doesn't have many options or anything. You can get all kinds of stuff. I think they upped the tech on this car quite a bit too. I was looking at the list of all the things you can get, all the safety features, and I mean, a lot of that stuff is, to me, it's kind of more annoying than helpful. But I mean, this one, even the basic model here, it still has parking sensors front and rear, and you have a rear backup camera, and it comes with the proximity key. I mean, that's the important stuff. And so you don't like what you don't have is you don't have like any leather interior, you don't have any heated seats, you don't have any lane keep assist or, you know, smart cruise control, all that other stuff. You know, there's quite a few things that this has, but a lot of it's unnecessary stuff. So other things, engines basically carry over from the last model. They upped the torque a little bit. I think it was about 270-ish or so, 274. So it's up to 294 now. So it's got a little bit more power. It's nice to also have options as far as driving style. I mean, it's basically runs a lot like an automatic or transmission gas car. You know, it tends to coast. It doesn't really regen a whole lot on its own. Although anytime you apply brake, it will regen first. You can also shift into low mode right here, and then it will basically brake, slow down to a certain degree, which is kind of nice. It's kind of like automatic regen. Kind of mimics more of a test on more of an i3 style. And then you also have the paddle shifter back here. The little I keep calling it paddle shifter. It's not a paddle shifter, it's a paddle regen. So like it's on the left side here, so you can just, if you just want to give it a little fine tune, you just want to slow down a little bit, you know, without actually braking, you can kind of just do it with one hand. You know, kind of like, it slows it down pretty significant. So, the only negative things I would say, as I mentioned before, the back seats, it's still only a 4-seater. It's not really a 5-seater. They claim it's a 5-seater. It's not really true. Styling is kind of subjective, as I mentioned before as well. It's not as goofy looking. It doesn't have some of the goofiness of the old one, but it's also very, very generic as well. The only other negative thing I would say is the 3.3 kilowatt charging, and especially since you have more range on this car, you really want to use it a little bit more. I would think you could probably use it. You know, it's to have it still be a 3.3 kilowatt charging, it seems a little old-fashioned, like a lot of other cars, including the Chrysler Pacifica, and certainly my Fiat 500e, and a lot of other EVs. Even if they have a gas, like a BMW i3 has a gas, you can get a gas backup generator as well, like this car, but it's a little bit different system. That's more of an option. Here it's standard, but it does have a 6.6 kilowatt. Well, actually, that one has a 7.2 kilowatt charger, which is a full 30 amps. And 6.6 is about 28 amps or so on a 240 circuit. And so this one's only 3.3, so it's half of that. So you're looking at only about 14 amps or so. And that makes a difference, because when you're at the store and you want to do a quick charge of the car, well, a quick charge relatively speaking, I mean, you're going to go into the store for an hour or something and you plug the car in, you know, you're literally going to get half the range of somebody else. Like if I pulled in with a Fiat 500e and I needed to go 50 miles or so, it would only take me an hour to charge up the car, hour and a half probably to charge the car. This car, if I needed to go 50, it would take 3 hours. So just that kind of a difference, it's kind of noticeable when you're destination charging, because the difference between an hour and a half and 3 hours is pretty serious. So that would be one thing that they should have probably have done a little bit better, but they didn't. But overall, I mean, it's styling subjective. The interior would look better in a different color. This is a basic model, so I really can't make all the comparisons of the last car I drove, which was pretty much a fully loaded one. So there's definitely a lot of things going on over here that, you know, this doesn't have that. But generally, I said it has the float here. That's good. Didn't see that before. So yeah. Generally, I'm pretty impressed with it. I think it's a very solid improvement. It's definitely a nice kind of family car, nice highway car. Very nice ride, very quiet, very comfortable. It seems to handle pretty good, which is nice too. This is what it's really good at, just cruising. Doesn't have nav, but it does have a little compass right here, so it's nice to know. Actually, I kind of like that idea of having a compass, even if you do have nav, because a lot of times you just want to go a general direction. You know, may not necessarily want to go there the shortest route or whatever, and do it, you know, turn by turn, but you just want to head, like we're heading west right now, and it's nice to just know the basic direction you're going. So I think that's actually kind of nice. Although generally nav would be expected on a new car, I would expect. But anyway, this one doesn't have it. Subjective about, you know, how fast they should activate. Alright. Still does that honking thing. Got that same problem with another GM car. Not sure why it does that. It's kind of annoying, but anywho. So it looks like we have a similar system to the old model. Instead of it being a dot, it has a different type of, a little bit more of a shape to it here for the display, for the little light there. And nothing visible telling you what the state of charge is, so let's go ahead and okay. Charge cord connected. Powered off. Okay, charging. I don't know if we have a charge limit here. This is some more typical. Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. This car now has a battery. It's 18 kilowatt battery. My Fiat has a 24 kilowatt. That's pretty close to the same battery size. I mean, it's, you know, that's 2/3 of the way there. Or actually, yeah, 2/3 of the way. 2/3 of the way there. There's no reason why you can't charge this much faster than what they limited to. I don't know why they limited to 3.3. Should be 3. It should be 6.6 or at least 6, something in that range. Anyway, 12 amps is still, that's still limiting though. It doesn't say anything about percent though, it just says EV range. Of course that's variable. I don't really like these type of meters because I really want to know what the percent is, because if I know I can go a mile per percent, just as an example, you know, I don't care what their estimate is. That doesn't mean anything. It's just based off of what I just drove as opposed to anything else. Something else I didn't display when I was doing the interior shots earlier is you can actually use these arrows. It does have some stuff here you can kind of customize. Show different displays here. Though it is a simpler display than the old model. The old model had all kinds of stuff going on the sides and everything. This one seems to be simple. Now once again, this might be because it's a basic model. Gives you the oil life, total range. Show the trip. Coolant temperature. So as before, it has pretty nice displays, so that's good. I like the displays. I mean, it's nice. It seems to show you what you need to know. Although it would be nice to know the percent of the battery charge. I think that's a pretty significant omission. Okay, so I went away for a little bit, came back. So this is what it shows you. Oh, then it goes away. Huh. That's interesting. I didn't push the start button or anything. Oh, let's do that. So I put in a little bit of up 3 miles. Maybe like 10 minutes, 12 minutes or so. You know, I should push the screen off too. It's kind of nice. It actually remembers it too. Whoops, but it doesn't remember the audio. It's still doing that thing. That was another thing I didn't like about the old one too. The way that it would unmute the radio. I mean, if you want to mute it or if you want to turn it off, you just, you know, you should be able to just leave it off, you know. There shouldn't be a way that you can, I guess you can turn it like, do like that. But still, you just want to check something else. Whoops, mute. It seems to turn the radio back on every time you go back in. A little bit annoying. Well, that should do it for this review of a 2017 Chevrolet Volt LT base model. Hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Many more videos to come.